Hello friends, welcome back to virtual session. And in last session we had a discussion on the JavaScript. There we understand one point that on the client side web page we can embed a dynamic logic by using a script of a JavaScript. HTML produces static web pages and there is no logic involved in it. So to make that page dynamic, we need to embed the JavaScript code. Up to that point we understand. How while embedding JavaScript code, you have to use a script tag, script language equal to JavaScript, and then inside that you can use various objects like document and all. Refer to the previous JavaScript session 1 if you have any difficulties in it. In today's session, my focus is on validating web forms using JavaScript. As we know, to process any data, we need to develop a waveform, and then through this waveform we will accept the data required to process, and then this data will be posted to the response page or the web server. But what will happen if the data which we are posting to the server, because server consists data processing logic, if inappropriate, inaccurate, unformatted data, if we able to post it to the server, the logic which is reside on the server will develop a server side exception, and if it develop the server side exception, then certainly server stop functionings and the entire web users will be get trouble in that, will get a problem of accessing the web services. Now, in case of waveforms, just like take an example of a registration form. In the registration form, user has to input name, surname, age, gender, date of birth, address, and many more stuffs. Now, and in a similar manner, let us take another example of a login window where we have to accept the login ID and password from the user. Now, what will happen if user will just, instead of entering data, instead of feeding the data, if user just click on the submit button, then the data will be posted to the server is on the null values. Request.get parameter that field name, that as there is no validation supplied, the null values will be posted to the server, and null value exceptions will be generated on the server side. This is about the required field, means like you must compulsorily fill the data. Many times, just like if you have a field like enter your age, so there is expected that user has to fill the numeric value. But what will happen if user enter the alphabets? what will happen if your email address is not in the appropriate format, right? So in such situations, right, we need to validate, we need to correct the data there and there only on the client side, right? Client side validations are needed so that your static HTML page will collect the data from the user, and before submitting to the server, that JavaScript code will cross-check each and every details of that particular data. It validates it there and there only for the appropriateness, correctness, format, for the blankness even, and then this validated data will be get posted to the server, and in this manner we can avoid the server side exceptions regarding the data format. So in today's sessions we are focusing on how we can able to write that script to validate the data, and only valid data will be posted to the server. Let us understand these things through one diagram. This is your client-side waveform. Now this client-side waveform consists that HTML page or HTML script. We need to embed the JavaScript validations code. JavaScript by using JavaScript we have to write the functions, and then means like the client-side data which you are supposed to post to the server. First of all, you need to post this to the JavaScript validate it there and there only at the client side, and only validate data will be posted to the server, and then hence on the server side there are very less chances of developed and exceptions, and server will accept the data, and server will get that data appropriate formatted manner, and then it will able to process the data on the server. So this is what actually the purpose of validating data at the client side by using JavaScript. Now while validating this data, for performing client side validations, the first validations what we need to perform, that is required field. Required field means while filling the data you cannot keep it null, you cannot keep it blank, you must fill that data. The second is number format. Right? Or if the data need to be in the specific format, means there should not be alphabets in the numbers, or there should not be numbers in the alphabets, that sort of things are. Means you have to check the format of that particular data. Then we have the regular expressions, means like we need to check the email having its own format, right? So you need to check the like whether the email ID you entered is in the appropriate format or not, right? And then let us say your password and confirm password both has to be equal, right? Then we have a minimum range of numeric data, maximum range of data, right? So I'm just trying to explain you what are the possible ways or what are the possible purpose for which we need to validate the web pages. The first thing is, in the required field, it prompts the user that compulsorily that data need to be fed on the client side, otherwise it will not allow to post the data. In a number format or the numeric format, alphabets are not allowed in to enter over there. In the email format, there is email has to be have every email have a specific format, some data at the rate, some like server name .com, right? So if you don't find the data in this of the email ID in this particular format, it will throw an exception at the client side, or it will validate the data and not allow to post the unformatted data to the server. In case of password and the confirm password, right, most of the times password is not visible, so actually by typing errors, sometimes password and the confirm password will be wrong. So here in this case, it will validate, it will cross check for the equality, right, whether the entered password and the confirm passwords are correct or not, or equal or not, and if both are equal, then only the data will be passed. The data will be passed on to the server. At the same time, there is a minimum and maximum numeric range as well. Means like here we check the number format, but at the same time, the minimum range allowed and the maximum range allowed, that is also we are going to validate. So this is about the theoretical steps for validating web forms, right? With JavaScript we are using, we validate the data and then able to post to the server. So like how we are going to do it, what we need to do in the head section, we need to embed a script in this way. We need to add the script tag, and inside that script tag we need to build a function. Let's say if I am building a function called as validate, right, and here I will write the code for validation, right, and then on the while submitting form tag, you already know, on submit equals to, I'll give a call to the function, right? So this is the way, is this form. Obviously I'm having a form over here. So when you enter the data on the form and click on the submit button, right, so once you try to submit the form of the data of the form, then it will give a call to this validate function, or validate the user defined function. You can define function by any name, and then this code will get activated, and it will cross check the entire fields. It will cross check all the fields which hold the data for its correctness, appropriateness, format, and then only it will allow that data to be submitted to the server page, right? So hope you understand the purpose. My today's session is on how I can apply JavaScript for validating data at the client side. Only correct, appropriate data need to be posted to the server, and for that reason, it's like I will check the blankness, number format, email address, passwords, minimum maximum range. To do that, I need to embed JavaScript logic. I will build the functions for doing this all the steps, and then before posting this data to the server, I am going to give a call to that all the functions, validate all the data, and only validated data will be posted to the server, right? So referring to this particular image, you can understand that up till now we were without validating any data, without performing any validations, we will directly able to by clicking on the submit button, we read the data and post to the server. But this kind of coding is dangerous because the exceptions may be developed at the server side and it stop functioning. As you know, our server is responsible for providing services to n number of users throughout the world. So all the users will get interrupted, get in trouble of data processing. So to avoid that, a good programmer need to, or while we need to follow the good programming practice that only validate correct data need to be posted to the server. So let's go for the coding purpose, how we can able to perform that all the things together, right? So let us understand by this by one example. Here I developed the applications by the name of numerical arithmetics. But this is the project called as numerical arithmetics, right? So I'm going to run it now. So obviously, as I am performing numerical arithmetics, what it is going to do, it will read the numbers from me, right? And then I can able to post it to the server. Enter a number. Let's say here I am entering a number called as 5, and if I submit it, right? So in the numerical expressions, factorial is 120, reverse of the number is something, and check even or odd, that all it is performing. Like obviously in the response, whatever the numbers you posted, like let's say if you enter any alphabet, if you keep it blank, it will say enter a number, and if you enter 1 2 3 4 as a number, right, if you submit it, then factorial is like too much high is factorial for the factorial, but reverse number we can able to find out, and it will even if we are able to develop check it out whether it's a even number or odd number. Let's say we are not focusing on the basically the server side logic that we already know, but like let's say what we did in the client side, right? In the client side, like ultimately we have a form by the name of numerical arithmetics. Numerical arithmetics action will be response.jsp and method equals to post, right? So response.jsp will read that number what you are going to post, and then obviously here in the response page we read the number, and then to perform that numerical expressions I develop a package like called as mypk, and in that numerical expression is there. Let us check it out. That also in the source package mypk consists that numerical expressions, and I am having a class called as numerical expressions which consists that all the methods factorial, reverse number, and check even or odd. So these all the three methods are of static type, right? And this I can refer in the, so I include the package called as mypk.numerical expression, and once I read that number, then I give a call to that all the methods like factor, reverse number, and whether it's a, because the check even will return me the true and false, so I am giving call to it in the if and else. Now this server side logic we understand. The only thing what we need to consider today, that whenever the form get runs, let us say now here in this case, whenever you run the form, what you will observe, it was not able to, we were not able to directly post the blank values, right? It is asking please enter a number. This is what validations means. Otherwise, if I, without entering any number, if I able to submit the data, null value get posted, server side exception will be developed, and the server will abruptly stop functioning. right? So what I did for that, to avoid that, here I process the on submit. I am having a submit button over here, right? So on submit means once you enter the data or not enter the data, or if you click on the submit button which is available in this form, right, it will give a call to this validate all function. Now validate all function is actually written in the head section, script language equal to JavaScript, and function name is validate all. So while writing the function in JavaScript, you will write function and the function name. This numerical arithmetics is referring to the form name. So you can copy it, you can pass it on numerical arith, right? So look at the syntax: form name equals to numerical arith, action equal to response.jsp, method equals to post, and on submit, return. I'll explain you why I return validate all and numerical arithmetics and semicolon. If semicolon is missing, hardly matters over there. So return is actually it is accepting that return status true or false. If it returns true, then it will able to post the data to the server side page, that is page called as response.jsp, and if it returns false, then the data will not be posted. That's why here is the keyword called as return. So first of all, it will give a call to the validate all functions, right, and pass on the form name as an argument, because we have to apply the validations on this particular form name. So the control will transfer to this validate all function. In JavaScript, in last session we studied that there is an object called as document.form name. Form name is numerical arithmetics. No is that field which is accepting data. Here it is input type equal to text, name equals to no means for number. So first of all, we need to declare a variable. While means in case of JavaScript, you have to declare a variable as a var a equals to document.formName.control.value. Means in the form name numerical arithmetics, there is a control called as number, and we are reading the values of it. So we read that value and stored in a. If a is a blank, right, if a is a blank means if user forgot to enter the data and try to post it, then this JavaScript code will check its value and it will alert the user, please enter a number, because you haven't entered any number. And then as the value he is trying to post, that is blank, so it will alert the message, please enter a number, and the focus will be back to that particular field, blank field, and return false, because blank data should not be posted to the server, so it will return false. So if once it get false over here, it will not able to post the data to the server. Else, if the data is not here I am not cross checking any other things, whether the entered data is alphabet and like I'm not minimum range and maximum range of the number. That validations I haven't keep it over here. This was just basic example that blank data should not be posted to the server, right? And if that value which user entered is not blank, then return true. Return true means you can able to post the data to the server. And once the data will be posted to the server, as we already know, that response.jsp will get the data, right? And then by referring the package mypk, where it got all the methods available for the factorial, reverse number, and the check even, it is able to perform the things. But here, when you try to run it, what you will understand that you cannot able to input the blank entries, right? It will restrict you to enter the blank entry. It will not allow, and like once you enter the blank entry, it will prompt, this is the alert over there, please enter a number. If you click on the OK, the focus will be back over here and return false, means like that data will be posted. If you enter any number and submit it, it will say the factorial is so and so, the reverse is so and so, and whether that server side logic for finding factorials, reverse number, check even or odd will be activated, and you can able to process that. Hope you understand the first example how we can just simple check the blankness of the data before posting to the server. Right? Now let us understand this by another example. Here I'm directly referring the code, so that let's say here I am having a form, name equals to my form, action equal to I haven't defined any like server side response page, but on submit I am giving call to the valid form. Semicolon is not compulsory. If you write semicolon or then also it will work, otherwise also it will work. So on submit I am giving call to the validate form, right? So input type text equal to text, and that text name is f name over there, right? We understand this. So the call goes to the validate form. Validate form is a function which is available in the head sections. So function validate form, document.forms dot, like in the last examples I studied that document you can directly take the form name which is get an argument. But if you don't know the form name, the document.form name forms document.forms, you can specify the form name and the control name dot value. Again, if it is a blank, alert, and then you name must be filled out and written false. That we already just discussed about, right? In the second demo, here JavaScript, we have, but we define the JavaScript function not in the head sections, in the body itself, right? So we have input type equal to number and button equal to, on click of the button we give a call to the my function, right? So my function of the function get calls up over here. A document by get element by id number dot value means like instead of document dot form name, because every time you may not get the form over here, so you can read that value of that. Here we say input id equal to number, so we can read the value and store it into the variable. Here we declare the variable over here, right? And then here we are checking whether that number whether there is a predefined function called as is nan, not a number. Is nan means it will check whether the given data is numeric or not. If that x is numeric, then it will return true. If x is a non-numeric, means like it's alphabets are there, it will return false. So here it will check it whether x is a numeric, x less than 1 and x more than 10, right? So means as you know, we are embedding with the or. If x is not a number or less than 1 or greater than 10, it will go to like the text will get assigned the message called as input type is valid, input not valid. What are the conditions? Anyone is true, no, because you are like combining by the or. So it has to be the number if it is less than 1 or it is more than 10, right? So text will input will be invalid, otherwise else it will be the okay over there, right? And then this text, the value of text, whether it's a input type input not valid or okay, that value of text will be assigned to document dot get element id demo dot internal HTML equal to text, right? So here we have right, the demo is a paragraph over there. So you'll get the output or the text whether it's a input not valid or input is okay on that particular paragraph, right? So let's run this and understand this by running it. We'll double click on this. Okay. Now JavaScript can validate input. Please input any number. Let's say if you input, if you keep it blank, then it will say input is invalid. If you input any alphabet, it will say input is invalid. If you enter any 12, input is invalid. If you enter 0, input is invalid. If you enter 5, right, means it in the range of, if it has to be number. Second, it has to be more than it should not be less than 1, means more than 1, more than or equal to 1, and it should not be more than 10 as well. So if it is a 5, it will say input is okay, right? So Now here in this case, right, the text field, here we haven't developed any form, right, but like we have a input and a submit button and a button, and there is a paragraph over there. And then we just like give a call to the, if you understand the code well, input id equal to number, right, and on the click of the button we give a call to the my function. My function is available over in the body sections, right, and then as we are not submitting data to the server, here we are cross checking everything at the client side only, right. So document.form name is missing over here. Got document by get element by id, get element by id is the method, and so whatever the data will you input in the number id, it will read it, that value, and assign to x. Now there is a predefined function to check whether the data is numeric, is nan. This is the predefined function in JavaScript. So you write the three conditions. We write the three conditions: is nan, x less than 0, x more than 0. If all are true, right? If and then text input is invalid. If it is false, right? If anything is false, it will invalid. Otherwise, it will say OK over here. And then that input OK or input invalid, that message will be assigned to the demo. Demo is actually the paragraph ID over there, right? Hope you understand this. Then the next one is here in this case, input type equal to text, name equal to first name, and the required like required is a attribute is available over here. Now just try to run it, you will understand. If by just adding required attribute, right, it will not allow you to post the blank data. Let's cross check it. Demo 3, right. If you click on the submit without filling any data, it will click, it will prompt the message, please fill out the field, right. So we did nothing, we just simply add input type equal to text, name equal to FNM, just write required, that's it. This required attribute will not allow to fill to submit the blank data, right, because you added a required over here, right. So there is no need to add any JavaScript function or nothing, just like you simply add a required attribute in the input type, that's it. It will not allow user to fit the blank data over there, right. Okay, let's go for the next thing. Here in this case again, the input type equal to id1, input id equal to id1, type equal to number, right. Minimum, here there is a property called as minimum and maximum, means like I try to define the min range and the maximum range over there. And required, now required mean will not allow to make a blank entry. Minimum will check where it should be the minimum of 100 and maximum of 300, means it is going to accept the data in the range of 100 and 300 at the same times. It is required, means the blank should not be entered. So this is the input ID by the ID1, and if you click on the my functions over there, so here document.get element ID1, and then like it will check the check validity, it means that data which you read in the variable, it will give a call to check validity. Check validity is a predefined function. Check validity will check the validity whether it's a blank, whether it's a 300 this thing, and if you get the true, so then only, otherwise it will give the validations message, whether it is a valid or invalid, that message will be printed over here. So here validation message is a message, check validity is a predefined method in JavaScript, and at the same times we got the attributes minimum, maximum, required, by which you can you can cross check the minimum range, maximum range, and the required over there. Let's try and execute it. Okay, here input and OK over here. If you click on OK, it will say please fill out the field because it is required. Second, if you enter any minimum range was 100, if you input 12, it will say value must be in the range of greater than or equal to 100. If you input 500, it will say value must be less than 300 over there. and if you input the correct data, let's say 250, because it is in the range of 100 to 300, at the same time it is not a blank even, then okay, refresh it, you will get it. Okay. Then if you enter 250, it will allow you. Okay. Otherwise it will be there. So hope you understand this thing, right? So what is the, so here let's understand the code. Input ID is ID1, type is number, right? And then minimum range is roll minimum value will be 100 and maximum 100, and it's required. So what we need to do, when you click on the particular button, right, after, then this function will be called as my function, and it will read the data, document.get element ID by ID1, right? And then check validity function is there. So validity properties are minimum, maximum and required in case of all, and if it is, and accordingly it will display the message. So that the check validity and the validation messages, these are the predefined like properties and the methods available in JavaScript, so that you can prompt it. At the same time, there is the attribute called as minimum, maximum, required, that you can use it, right? So you can even check the numeric range, right, and required field also. Okay, then the next one is here again minimum, maximum range is 100, and then here document.get element ID, validity range overflow, right? Like if you value is too large, or like means if you set the maximum range as 100. So if you enter any data which is like go beyond the range, then it will say value too large. Okay, let us say it, let us run it. So if you input any data below 100, it's okay, but if you input any data beyond 100, it will say value too large, right? And then we have a again the minimum, the same thing is for the minimum range. Range underflow is a property, that in previous case it was a range overflow was a property over there, right? To check the value. I'm passing all the codes, tested codes with you, and then we have a form validation. The form validations means if you enter a name, let's say you check it your name, please provide your name. You have to feed your name over here. Then if you write the email ID, if you write email ID like this, you can say it will like you need to feed your email ID in the specific format. Right? Your zip code has to be in the proper format, right? And then select your like whichever the country you select over here, and then you can able to push it over there. Like obviously we haven't developed the server side code. So here what we did for that, let's understand the code. Here I try to develop a form. Like okay, let's say right action, we are not posting the data to anywhere else. Form name is my form, and on submit we give a call to the validate, and here the other text fields and all these stuffs are there, right? Now we know how to develop the form, that's why I'm skipping this. I'm concentrating directly to the validate functions. The document.form.control.value equals to blank, please provide the name, and the focus will be back and written false. Here I will check firstly the blank, whether the name should not be blank, email should not be blank, right? And this is not the zip code should not be numeric, it should be the numeric and all, and it should not be blank, and it has to be the numeric. At the same time its length should not be equal to 5, or value dot length not equal to 5, means like the total length should not be less than 5, or it has to be the 5 only, right? Otherwise it will, please provide the zip code in the comment and focus will be back. At the same time, country dot value, obviously country is your it's drop down over there, and here by default you select like selected value of the zip code will selected value of the drop down will be -1, right? So if you not select any value, obviously its value will be the default value will be the -1 over here. It will say please provide your country and return false. And this is for validating email also. This is for validating email, and this is valid for, this is the code for the validating email even. I haven't added validating email code over here, right? So what exactly this code will do, right? If you run the code, right, first of all it will check the blankness of name, email ID, zip code and country. Country is drop down, so by default value is -1. So the default value is -1 means you haven't entered any, you select any country over there. So first of all we need to cross check that for the blankness. Name should not be blank, email should not be blank, and here is the conditions for the zip code. It should not be blank. It will check the blankness, the numeric, and the length should not be less than the 5, or it has to be exactly 5. Otherwise it will prompt the message please provide the correct format. And here if you haven't select any country, so by default value is -1, so you have to select any one format. And then like I added another function over here, as this is this validate email function I haven't used is to call the validations, but like, okay, what this validate email will do, you can give a call to the validate email ID. So it will read the email, it should not be start with the @ and then it should end with the dot, and then like start positions less than 2 and all this stuff, so dot, and then if it is not, this code will validate your email ID, right? And if you need this, you need to validate the email ID given in the text field, then you give a call to that particular call to this particular functions, and then if it is correct then return true, otherwise return false, right? So I tried to perform all the possible validations we need to perform before actually posting data to the server. Hope these all the codes which I am discussing with you, I'm giving these all the codes I tested and explained within this virtual session to you. You go through these all the codes, test it prior, and then implement over there. The agenda behind this entire web session on the JavaScript validation is, we understand the JavaScript. It is perform the work like a programming language, but the motive of this JavaScript is to basically it is making that static web pages dynamic. And then in current sessions I explained about that JavaScript is useful for validating the data. We can make your web page logical, but at the same time we can validate that data before actually posting to the server. I explained the consequences. If you're not able to validate the data, what will happen? The incorrect, inappropriate, non-formatted data will be posted to the server, and it develops the server-side exceptions. To avoid that, we must able to perform validations at the client side only. Right now, this is about that validating the functions, validating the data. Now instead of obviously whenever you are trying to write the functions, right, there may be a lot of lengthy code will be added over here. So what you can do, you can cut these functions and develop a separate JS file. Right click on the web pages and add a JS file, and these are all the functions definitions you can store over there, right? And in that case, and that means that entire code, lengthy code of JavaScript, you can store in .js file. Just understand that JavaScript file have an extension called as .js. Let's understand that you have a JavaScript file. You have a JavaScript file that by the name of myfile.js, right? And inside that all the functions you added. Then to call that functions, you can which is defined in the myfile.js, right? To call that functions, you have to specify src source equals to myfile.js. In this way also we can refer to that functions. What we studied up till now, by writing functions using JavaScript, on the submit of a form, on the button hit, we can call that functions. But professionally, when you design the web forms, obviously there may be n number of fields, and to validate n number of fields you may have the n number of functions available, so the code become lengthy. So why not we separate this entire function list or the function code and store in the separate .js file, and then as a source you can specify it and embed it with the HTML, so that you have a separate HTML web form and a separate .js file, and when you submit this data, it refers to the that .js file, validate all the data, and then it will be posted to the response page over there, right, or the server side code over there. Hope you understand this everything over there, right? Thank you.